The Eightfold Path. A practical guide for life. In the vast landscape of human spiritual heritage, few roadmaps are as clear, comprehensive, and enduringly practical as the Noble Eightfold Path. This sublime teaching, first articulated by Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, over 2.500 years ago, forms the very core of his practical guidance for awakening. It is the fourth of his four noble truths, the Magga, the path leading to the cessation of suffering. If the first three truths diagnose the human condition, dukkha, identify its cause, tanha, and affirm a cure, nirodha, then the Eightfold Path is the living prescription, the detailed course of treatment designed to bring about that cure. This path is not a set of divine commandments to be followed out of blind faith. Nor is it a linear sequence of steps to be completed and then discarded. Rather, it is a holistic and integrated blueprint for human flourishing, a dynamic process of cultivation encompassing every aspect of our lives. The Buddha called it the Majjhima Patipada, the middle way, because it skillfully navigates between the two extremes he had personally explored and rejected: the path of hedonistic, sensual indulgence, which he knew to be fleeting and ultimately unfulfilling, and the path of severe, self-mortifying asceticism, which he found to be painful and fruitless. The Eightfold Path is a guide to living an ethical, mindful, and wise life. Right here in the midst of our complex, modern world, each of the 8 factors is preceded by the Pali word samma, often translated as right. But right here does not imply a rigid sense of moralistic right and wrong. It is better understood as skillful, wise, wholesome, or complete. It points to a way of engaging with each factor that is conducive to clarity, peace, and liberation. The path is a set of 8 interwoven strands that, when cultivated together, form a powerful cable that pulls us from the shores of suffering to the far shore of nibbana. For the sake of clarity, these 8 factors are traditionally grouped into 3 essential trainings: ethical conduct, sila; mental discipline, samadhi; and liberating wisdom, panya. This guide will explore each of these divisions, revealing not just their ancient meaning but their profound and practical relevance for a well-lived life today. The foundation of ethical conduct, sila. The journey of transformation begins with sila, the cultivation of ethical conduct. To a modern mind, the idea of rules or morality can sometimes feel restrictive. Yet, in the Buddhist framework, sila is not about subjugation to an external authority. It is a profoundly practical and psychological training. Its purpose is to create a life of non-remorse. When we act in ways that cause harm to ourselves or others, our minds are inevitably plagued by guilt, anxiety, fear, and agitation. A mind in such a state is like turbulent, muddy water, incapable of the clarity and stillness required for deep meditation and insight. Sila, therefore, is the practice of calming the waters of our actions so that the mind can settle. It is the essential foundation upon which the entire edifice of mental and spiritual development is built. The division of sila includes 3 path factors: right speech, right action, and right livelihood. 1. Right speech, samma vacca. The power of speech is immense. Our words can build bridges or burn them. They can heal or wound, clarify or confuse. The Buddha understood that our speech is a direct reflection of our inner state, and that by purifying our speech, we simultaneously purify our minds. Right speech is not merely about avoiding what is wrong, it is about actively cultivating what is skillful. It consists of 4 key aspects. Abstaining from false speech, at its most basic level. This means not telling lies. But it goes deeper. It is a commitment to speaking the truth, to being honest and reliable in our communications. In our current era of fake news and digital deception, this commitment to truthfulness is a radical act of integrity. Practically, this means fact-checking our assumptions before we speak, being transparent in our dealings, and having the courage to speak truth, even when it is difficult, always tempered with kindness. Abstaining from divisive speech. This is speech that sets people against each other, slander, backbiting, and malicious gossip. It is language that is born from ill will and creates discord, suspicion, and enmity. Practically, in an age of online polarization and call-out culture, this practice is more relevant than ever. It means refusing to participate in gossip, whether in the office or on social media. It means looking for ways to foster harmony and understanding, rather than fanning the flames of division. It is the practice of asking, will these words bring people together or drive them apart? Abstaining from harsh speech. This includes angry, abusive, insulting, or sarcastic language that is intended to cause pain. Harsh words can leave deeper scars than physical blows. They arise from an agitated and unpeaceful mind. Practically, this involves developing emotional self-awareness. It means learning to pause when we feel anger rising, to breathe, and to choose a response rather than an automatic reaction. It is the cultivation of a gentle, kind, and courteous way of communicating, even during disagreements. Abstaining from idle chatter. This is frivolous, pointless talk that wastes our own time and the time of others. It is the endless stream of gossip, speculation, and triviality that clutters the mind and prevents it from settling. Practically, this does not mean we must always be serious and solemn, but it does invite us to be more mindful of our communication. Is what we are about to say useful, meaningful, or purposeful, or is it just noise? In a world of constant digital distraction, cultivating the art of meaningful conversation and comfortable silence is a powerful practice. Right speech, then, is a comprehensive training in mindful communication, guided by the principles of truthfulness, kindness, and purpose. 2. Right action, Samma Kamanta. Just as right speech purifies our verbal expressions, right action purifies our physical conduct. It guides our behavior in the world, ensuring our actions are a source of peace and safety for ourselves and all other beings. Like right speech, it has both an abstaining and a cultivating aspect. The three components are: abstaining from taking life. This is the foundational precept of non-harming, ahimsa. At its most basic, it means refraining from killing any living creature, from the smallest insect to a human being. On a deeper level, it is the cultivation of an attitude of reverence for all life. Practically, it extends beyond the literal act of killing to encompass all forms of violence and cruelty. It encourages us to act with compassion and to protect life wherever we can. For many, this leads to dietary choices like vegetarianism or veganism as a direct expression of this principle. Abstaining from taking what is not given. This means refraining from stealing, robbery, and fraud. It is a commitment to respecting the property of others. But its practical application is much broader. It includes not engaging in exploitative business practices, not cheating on taxes, and not taking credit for the work of others. Practically, it is the cultivation of its positive counterpart, generosity, dana. It is the practice of looking for opportunities to give, to share our time, energy, and resources freely and with a joyful heart. Abstaining from sexual misconduct. This principle is about bringing mindfulness and ethics into our sexual lives. It means refraining from any sexual behavior that involves harm, coercion, exploitation, or betrayal. This includes adultery, sexual assault, and any action that violates the trust and well-being of others. Practically, this is a call for deep relational integrity. It means ensuring our sexual expression is grounded in mutual consent, respect, kindness, and honesty. It is about honoring our commitments and ensuring our sexuality is an expression of connection and care, not a source of suffering. Right action, therefore, is the practice of embodying our ethical values through our physical behavior, transforming our body into an instrument of peace and compassion in the world. 3. Right livelihood, Samma Ajiva. The Buddha recognized that our work consumes a vast portion of our lives and has a profound impact on our minds and the world. Right livelihood is the principle that our profession should be in harmony with our spiritual values. We should earn our living in a way that is peaceful, honest, and does not cause harm to others. The Buddha specifically named 5 types of livelihood to be avoided: dealing in weapons, dealing in living beings, including slavery and prostitution, but also raising animals for slaughter, dealing in meat, dealing in intoxicants, and dealing in poisons. Practically, in our complex global economy, applying this principle requires deep and honest reflection. We must ask ourselves, what is the impact of my work? Does my company produce something that benefits society? Or does it contribute to greed, violence, addiction, or environmental degradation? Does it treat its employees and customers ethically? Right livelihood is not about everyone needing to become a monk or a social worker. It is about striving to bring an ethical awareness to our professional lives. Choosing work that aligns with our values where possible, and acting with integrity within whatever profession we find ourselves. It is the recognition that our spiritual practice doesn't stop when we clock in for work. It is a 24/7 commitment. The heart of mental discipline, samadhi. If sila builds the stable foundation, samadhi builds the strong and focused structure upon it. This is the training of the mind itself, the heart of Buddhist meditation. The Pali word samadhi refers to a state of collectedness, unification, and concentration. An untrained mind is often described as a monkey mind, jumping restlessly from one thought to the next, driven by habitual patterns and external stimuli. The practice of samadhi is about taming this monkey, transforming the mind from a scattered, chaotic force into a calm, clear, and powerful tool of inquiry. This training is indispensable, as a scattered mind cannot see itself or the world clearly. It is the bridge that connects outer ethical conduct to inner liberating wisdom. This division includes 3 path factors: right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. 4. Right effort, samma vayama. This path factor is about cultivating a specific kind of energy, a balanced, consistent, and joyful diligence in our mental cultivation. It is the opposite of passive resignation on one hand and stressed, forceful striving on the other. The Buddha, knowing the tendencies of the mind, laid out a brilliantly practical 4-part strategy for this effort. The effort to prevent the arising of unwholesome states, like greed, anger, jealousy, and delusion, that have not yet arisen. The effort to abandon unwholesome states that have already arisen. The effort to cultivate wholesome states, like kindness, generosity, patience, and wisdom, that have not yet arisen. The effort to maintain and perfect wholesome states that have already arisen. Practically, this is a profound and active form of mental hygiene. It is like being a skillful gardener of the mind seedling. We learn to recognize the weeds of negative thoughts and emotions. We make an effort not to water them, prevention, and to gently uproot them when they appear, abandonment. Simultaneously, we actively plant the flowers of positive mental states. We intentionally bring to mind thoughts of gratitude, kindness, and forgiveness, cultivation, and we nurture them so they grow strong, maintenance. This is not about repression, it's about wise substitution. We overcome darkness not by fighting it, but by turning on the light. Right effort is the joyful, energetic heart of our practice, the commitment to actively shaping our inner landscape. 5. Right mindfulness, samma sati. Right mindfulness is perhaps the most well-known of the path factors in the contemporary world. Sati means mindfulness or awareness, and specifically, a clear, non-judgmental, present moment awareness. It is the practice of paying attention on purpose, without getting lost in the commentary, judgment, or storytelling that usually accompanies our experience. It is the capacity to see what is happening, both inside and out, as it is happening. The classic framework for cultivating mindfulness is the 4 foundations of mindfulness, satipatthana. Mindfulness of the body, kayanapasana. This involves bringing awareness to the physical reality of the present moment. The most common practice here is mindfulness of breathing, simply observing the natural sensation of the in-breath and out-breath. It also includes awareness of our body's posture, sitting, standing, walking, and the myriad sensations within the body. This grounds us in the here and now. Mindfulness of feelings, sensations, vedananupasana. This is the practice of observing the feeling tone of every experience as it arises. Is it pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? The practice is to simply note this tone without grasping at the pleasant, pushing away the unpleasant, or ignoring the neutral. This practice directly targets the root of craving, tanha, which is fueled by our habitual reactions to feelings. Mindfulness of the mind, consciousness, chittanupasana. Here, we turn our awareness to the mind itself, observing our mental states. Is the mind greedy right now? Is it angry? Is it calm? Is it scattered? Is it loving? We learn to recognize these states as transient, impersonal phenomena, rather than identifying with them as me or mine. Mindfulness of dhammas, mental objects, dhammanupasana. This is the most comprehensive foundation, where we observe the content of our experience through the lens of the Buddha's teachings. We watch our experience in terms of the 5 hindrances to meditation. the 7 factors of enlightenment, the 5 aggregates, and even the 4 noble truths themselves. It is the application of wisdom to our direct experience. Practically, mindfulness creates a crucial space between stimulus and response. In that space lies our freedom to choose a wise and compassionate response rather than an automatic, habitual, and often harmful reaction. It is the key to breaking free from the chains of our conditioning. 6. Right concentration, Samma Samadhi. Right concentration is the fruit of practicing right effort and right mindfulness. As the mind is protected from unwholesome states and anchored in the present moment, it naturally becomes more stable, calm, and unified. Samadhi is the ability to collect the mind's scattered energy and bring it to a single point of focus, sustaining it there without distraction. The purpose of concentration is twofold. First, it brings about profound states of peace, joy, and tranquility. The deeper states of concentration, known as the jhanas, are described as states of sublime bliss and equanimity that are far superior to any pleasure derived from the senses. This provides the practitioner with a wholesome source of happiness, making it easier to let go of craving for worldly pleasures. Second, a concentrated mind becomes an incredibly powerful instrument of insight. A mind that is calm, steady, and unified, like the still surface of a lake, can reflect reality perfectly. A mind that is sharp and focused, like a laser beam, can penetrate into the deepest nature of existence. Practically, it is this concentrated mind, developed through dedicated meditation practice, that is capable of directly realizing the liberating wisdom of impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and no self. While deep states of jhana may seem advanced, the cultivation of concentration begins simply with the consistent effort to return our attention, again and again, to our object of meditation, such as the breath. This simple act builds the mental muscle of focus that is invaluable in all areas of life. The apex of liberating wisdom, panya. If sila is the foundation and samadhi is the structure, panya is the illuminating light that fills the entire building. Panya is wisdom. This is not the accumulation of factual knowledge or intellectual brilliance. It is a direct, transformative, and liberating insight into the true nature of reality. This wisdom is not something we create, it is something we uncover. It is the natural clarity of the mind that reveals itself once the obscurations of ethical misconduct and mental distraction have been cleared away by the practice of sila and samadhi. This division, which includes the first 2 path factors, is placed last in this guide because its full realization is the culmination of the path, even though a provisional form of it is needed at the beginning. 7. Right understanding, samma ditthi. Right understanding, also translated as right view, is the keystone of the entire Eightfold Path. It is listed first because in a provisional sense, we need some kind of right map to even begin the journey. This initial understanding might be the intellectual conviction that our actions have consequences, karma, and that a path to the end of suffering exists. However, the ultimate goal is to transform this conceptual understanding into a direct, experiential insight. This is the penetrating wisdom that sees reality as it truly is, yatha Buddha. What does this wisdom see? It sees the 4 noble truths. It directly experiences the nature of dukkha, sees the arising of craving, tanha, in real time, glimpses the possibility of its cessation, nirodha, and understands how the Eightfold Path, magga, works from the inside out. It sees the 3 marks of existence. It sees that all conditioned phenomena, including our own thoughts, feelings, and body, are impermanent, anicca, inherently unsatisfactory or stressful, dukkha, and devoid of any solid, separate, enduring self, anatta. Practically, cultivating right understanding means we actively investigate our own experience. We stop taking our thoughts and feelings at face value and begin to examine them with mindful curiosity. We reflect on the impermanent nature of life, which helps us to hold things more lightly. We begin to see how our own craving is the direct cause of our unhappiness. This profound shift in view is what ultimately cuts the root of suffering. It is the liberating, aha, moment that the entire path is designed to facilitate. Light bulb. 8. Right intention, samma sankappa. Right intention, also translated as right thought or right resolve, is the intimate partner of right understanding. Once our understanding begins to shift, our intentions naturally follow. If right understanding is the seeing, right intention is the steering. It is the practice of consciously aligning our motivations with our deepest wisdom. It involves purifying the white behind all our actions. The Buddha specified 3 aspects of right intention. The intention of renunciation, nekkhamma. This is not about rejecting the world in a grim fashion. It is the joyful intention of letting go. Seeing through right understanding that clinging to fleeting pleasures is a source of suffering. We naturally develop the intention to release our grip. It is the intention to find happiness through simplicity, contentment, and inner peace rather than through endless acquisition. The intention of loving kindness, metta. This is the intention to cultivate goodwill, benevolence, and unconditional friendship towards all beings. Starting with ourselves, it is the resolve to abandon ill will, resentment, and hatred. It is the active wish for the happiness and well-being of all. Heart. The intention of harmlessness, avahimsa or karuna. This is the intention of compassion. It is the resolve to abandon cruelty and to respond to the suffering of others, and ourselves, with a tender heart and a desire to help. It is the active wish for all beings to be free from suffering. Practically, right intention is a constant, moment-to-moment practice. Before we speak or act, we can pause and check our motivation. Is this coming from a place of craving, aversion, and ego? Or is it coming from a place of letting go, loving kindness, and compassion? This practice reorients our entire being towards the wholesome and the beautiful. The path is an integrated whole. It is a common mistake to view the 8 factors as a linear sequence of steps, like rungs on a ladder. This is not the case. They are to be cultivated simultaneously, as they are all mutually supporting. The image of a cable with 8 strands is more accurate. The cable is only strong when all strands are present and woven together. The synergy is beautiful and profound. The practice of ethical conduct, sila, leads to a life free from remorse, which provides the stability needed for mental discipline, samadhi. A mind that has been calmed and focused through samadhi becomes the perfect instrument for seeing reality clearly, thus giving rise to liberating wisdom, panya. This emergent wisdom, in turn, circles back to inform and deepen our ethics and our mental discipline. For example, as our wisdom grows, we see more clearly the suffering caused by harsh speech, which strengthens our commitment to right speech, sila. This creates a feedback loop, an upward spiral of cultivation that propels the practitioner towards liberation. Right understanding and right intention guide the other 6 factors, while the other 6 factors provide the practical ground for wisdom to mature. Conclusion. A timeless guide to living well. The Noble Eightfold Path is the Buddha's most profound and practical gift to humanity. It is a complete and coherent system for navigating the challenges and opportunities of human life. It is a path that honors the complexity of our being, addressing our conduct in the world, the inner landscape of our minds, and the very nature of our understanding. It is not a path of belief, but a path of action. It is not a rigid doctrine, but a flexible and adaptable guide that invites constant inquiry and personal verification. In a world that often seems chaotic and overwhelming, the Eightfold Path offers a clear and steady compass. It guides us away from harm and towards harmony, sila. It trains us to tame our scattered minds and find an unshakable inner refuge, samadhi. And it empowers us to cut through the confusion of ignorance and see the world with a liberating clarity, panya. It is, in the most profound sense, a practical guide to living a life of integrity, mindfulness, wisdom, and ultimately, a life of profound peace and freedom. It is the timeless invitation to walk, step by step, towards our own highest potential.